Artificial intelligence is making waves in the education sector. Scholars are aided with educational tools to making their learning a lot easier. While some say ChatGPT as the end of creativity and original work, its capabilities make it a beneficial tool that tech-savvy students and teachers can leverage in a number of academic areas. But just how can they do that? I'm joined now virtually from here in Johannesburg by Crimson Education Country Manager Rebecca Pretorius. Rebecca, thank you so much for your time this evening. Listen, I'm rather old school, and the more and more I've heard about ChatGPT, there's the initial reaction to say, oh, well, this is just going to help the kids cheat writing their essays. And I wish we had that when we were studying and burning the midnight oil. But it's not that simple, is it?
No, it's not. I mean, certainly, kind of ChatGPT can churn out, an essay or content, limit, some of what students might have done in the past by themselves, but it can also be used to augment and enhance learning, kind of increase the students' capabilities and personalize learning. It can be used to summarize information, answer questions, translate, generate text, poems, carry out research, and those are not necessarily bad things, and they're not also things that students are not necessarily using Google for already. And improving writing, improving grammar and spelling is something that students use Grammarly for. So it's not quite as simple as being all bad or all good, I suppose.
Let's focus on the two sides of this coin here, the students and indeed the educators or the teachers. How do you approach this from a teacher or educator point of view? Is this just another way that they're going to have to learn to be able to suss out whether a student has indeed used ChatGPT in a more abusive way and not just in a way to enhance their writing and enhance their way of thinking? How are you encouraging educators and teachers to approach the use of ChatGPT and indeed to educate themselves about it going forward?
So I think the first thing is that, like any other, kind of platform, software, piece of technology that's used by students, teachers are familiarizing themselves with it, and I would encourage them, obviously, to continue to do that. But I think from a point of view of working with students, on the one hand, it may be also educating students about the risks involved in it, whether it's, students not understanding that that all the information that comes from it may not be reliable, right? May be misleading, may be biased. But at the same time, outside of that, to integrate it into their own learning, integrate it into the students' learning, integrate it into the classroom, and also to help a teacher as well, to set tests, set exams, find answers, find new ways of teaching. So I think it's both things. It's both showing students how it can support their learning, talking to students about the risks involved in it, whether that's a safety risk, handing out information, and then kind of guiding them and using it themselves, like I say, to augment their teaching and to make life easier for them as well, right? Saving time. Some manual tasks that they may have been doing that they could automate using ChatGPT.
There's the saying that says, with great power comes great responsibility. I suppose that's the approach that one is hoping students use when they attempt to use ChatGPT, because it's not a perfect technology, is it? Because I've read somewhere that it cannot always pick up on misinformation within the sources that it is using, within the database that it is using at that time.
Absolutely. It is designed to avoid, bias, incorrect, harmful, misleading information, but certainly mistakes happen, and it's early days. So it should get better as more information is put in it, as it gets more sophisticated. But certainly safety is an important concern, and like any kind of piece of technology, any platform, especially when children are using it, to be really careful about putting in any personal information, I mean, certainly hackers and scammers can use it to develop, really kind of personal, conversational, convincing, emails or messages in order to encourage people to leave personal information, especially, kind of children. But like you say, responses can be incorrect or misleading. There are no kind of sources that are coming through with ChatGPT. So students, like with anything else, Wikipedia, for example, to be critical of where the information is coming from.
I suppose this is just another form of helping people in the education space to break things down. I mean, we had the rise of the For Dummies books, Matric Maths for Dummies, or whatever your set work book is, To Kill a Mockingbird for Dummies, and that's in book form. And yet we probably approach that saying, well, it's a book, so I must be able to trust it. ChatGPT kind of does all of that as well, doesn't it?
It does, absolutely. And that's a good example, actually a good comparison, right? Because, ChatGPT can be used, like you say, in the same way a book that's simplifying information or a study guide that's summarizing information. Like I say, for students to get answers, translate, generate, improve writing, and so on. Grammarly is not all that different, where it helps students, check their writing, check their spelling. So yes, I mean, it is another tool that can be used, that one needs to be really, considerate about in terms of safety, like any other piece of technology. But like you say, it's sometimes we're fearful of it because it's new, because it's very hyped up, and we don't necessarily understand it.
Well, this has been very educational as well, so you've helped me along. Thank you so much. That's Crimson Education Country Manager Rebecca Pretorius, chatting about ChatGPT and the impact that it could potentially have on the education sector.